Thanks for coming through to this podcast, guys. We've been talking a lot lately about freedom and money and, you know, what the goal should be. People watching this now would have seen us talk about this recently. And I think it's a topic we want to cover again, just through the feedback we get, the messages we receive through social media channels, through members. And I do get it. When you've never had money, the goal is going to be money. You know, I was guilty of that when I first started. But when you get to a certain level, and it's not the top level, you know, just a few levels, you start to realize that freedom is more important than anything. And the example I was saying before this podcast started is, if you look at, you know, an average person and what they would need a day to have the freedom to be able to wake up when they want, spend time with their kids or their loved ones, go and see their mum and dad, check in with them, you know, go for a nice walk, do some exercise, whatever it may be, their perfect day. On average, it will cost the average person around £100 to £200 a day to be able to have that freedom. So when you see people say, I need to make thousands a day, realistically, if you're not a materialistic person, do you need to make thousands a day to be able to have that freedom? No. When you look at the average household, it's a couple of £100 a day for all your bills. You know, like you look at your gas and electric, your fuel, all your bills daily. If you look at it on a day-to-day basis, it's £100 to £200, and that gives you the complete freedom. So as long as your business is making you £100 to £200, you have the freedom, and freedom is what most people only dream of. There's millionaires out there that dream of the freedom. They have the millions, but they don't have the freedom.
Yeah, and I think it's also, like you mentioned there, freedom goes hand in hand with motivation. Sometimes millionaires, they can be quite somewhat selfish-minded. They can only see money, money, money. And I say it depends on what level of motivation or what gives you that motivation. And I think we've discussed it a lot of the times. And like I said, I'm grateful for the opportunities that you guys created a change for us, moving away from the agency where you are somewhat stuck into. I was probably a 24-hour person because obviously we're working with clients and that we're working all the time. Whereas now I'm selective with what I want to do. I can wake up like on the days where Evie Roses and nurseries over that. I've been able to see, and it's like it's not common that you can stay at home. Both parents are staying at home while my missus was off on obviously maternity leave. I was then there with her as well, and I think it's that gives you that level of motivation that. Yeah, look, having money in the bank is amazing and creating that future for you. But it's what I've been able to see my daughter grow up, and I think that's quite a unique moment for parents to both to see like during the day and stuff like that. And I think that allows you to then be further motivated in terms of where you want to take it to the next step. And like you said, the financial freedom can be a short-term goal, and I believe it should always be an element of where you to get to the freedom and the lifestyle you want to desire, where you can pick and choose. Like you don't need an alarm clock and you wake up when you want. Like you do need finances, but it's where your motivation lies in terms of where you want to be going and beyond. Do you want a bit more of a family life? Do you want to go? Alex, I know does a lot of traveling. Do you want to see what do you want to see and where do you want to go with it?
I think I put out a poll recently, and it was: would you rather earn 100k a year doing 20 hours a week, or would you rather earn 200k a year doing 60 hours a week? And the votes come back, and it was very 50-50. We found that, you know, half the people were like, no, I would rather the 200k because I can go and buy my dream car. I can be materialistic, but it's pointless if the car just sits there. You know, and my mum and dad are very like this. You know, they're very like, I wouldn't say materialistic, but they're very like, we own this and we own that and we own that. But nothing's ever owned. Everything's rented. When we go, we don't own this anymore, you know. And I think having that mindset, you'll find happiness. And some people might look at me and go, okay, how can you sit there and say that, Ryan, when you've got this and you've got that? But they're just milestones for me. I don't sit there at night and think, I own this, I own that, I own this. It doesn't bother me whether I own it or not. If I can get it, fantastic, it's a bonus. But my true goal lies in freedom, and I absolutely, to be fair, I absolutely love that poll, because most of the people that follow me are interested in creating a business or making more money or, you know, becoming financially free. So to see people in that 50-50 there, it's quite good. I think people are starting to wake up now and realize that, do you know what, you can go to places like Greece as an example on a £1,000 budget. £1,000 isn't a lot of money. You don't need tens of thousands of pounds to live a good life, you know. And I don't think people see that side of it. And it is the benefits of having freedom. It's priceless when you can wake up, have no one on your back, you're able to have lunch when you want, go to the gym when you want. You're not in that rat race with everybody else. Like the Euros is on, and I had a member message me saying, Ryan, I'm so lucky that I can just watch the Euros now. I used to work evenings in a second job.
Some little ones, yeah.
It's the small things.
But it is the small things, exactly that.
Yeah,
I used to work a second job in a bar to cover the bills.
Yeah.
I've got a business now doing that, so I'm able to watch the Euros. I'm like, that's incredible. Like, it's just little things like
100%.
that.
I think
Yeah.
I love this topic because it's so subjective as well.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different opinion on what freedom looks like.
Yeah.
And for me, it's having that time to then go and do the things you want to.
Yeah.
For me personally, I love traveling. I love dog walks. I love all that sort of stuff. Spending time with the missus and stuff like that. But
The simple things.
Why was that
it's
last
just,
one?
yeah, no, it's a simple
Travel,
one.
dog walks, then misses.
Not in order.
Mrs.
I must have not said that out loud. But not in order.
Don't show her this one.
But it's the financial side of it. If you use that as your main goal, then you'll always struggle, or you'll always try and cut corners, or you'll just make mistakes. The money is always a byproduct of getting there.
Yeah.
Now, to get there, you don't need to, but 9 times out of 10 you need a purpose. Now your purpose is obviously you, with Eva Rose, we've got the businesses, and then obviously you've got Brooke, me, I like travelling, got other things to pay for.
Yeah.
So if you have a purpose and why you want, and basically the big why, and you get that noted down, and this is what I'd recommend everyone is, all right, look into why you want to do something. Not, I need to buy a car, or I need to do this. Is, right, why? Because that will always give you that inner strength to then work hard. Because you do need to put in the hours to find that extra income. Like you said there, find out what the bare minimum is you need to just, not survive, but to get through your day. Whether it's a couple of £100 a day, week, month, whatever you need to do. And then you find that external thing that will help you get there.
It's
and
a
then that
lot
will then
less.
get
It's
your
a lot
time back.
less than what people actually realise as well. Like, people probably think about it, like you said, when stepping away from your main 9-to-5 job and stuff like that, it is going to be scary and it's going to be daunting. But to be successful and live within your own means is not a lot of money. And I don't think you need to be earning a lot of money to make sure you are successful within e-commerce and stuff like that. And I think the opportunities that are presented from moving away from your 9-to-5 is second to none. And I don't think you realise it, and you don't realise the time that you have until you actually move away from it, because you're stuck in it. It works for some people because they like that routine. They like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, going to the gym, and then going to the 9-to-5 and not having the additional pressures.
Yeah.
But it's not for everyone, and I don't think you realise how many hours are in the day until you actually step away from it, because you are just focused on working for someone else, being successful in someone else, and developing their goals and dreams.
Yeah.
And it's what we're trying to do within Change, is not only provide you with a business, provide you with a B2B, B2C, or opportunities to develop and understand a learning, but it's also a mindset of like, where we want to be your safety net, we want to be your parachute to move away from 9-to-5. We are all examples of, from a chef to, I've had every job under the sun.
You have.
Alex is at agencies and stuff like that. From, obviously, you were a bartender, waitress with Ryan and stuff like that. So back before with Amazon and stuff like that. So it's every one of us here, even the guys obviously that aren't on the podcast, all have a story and all have a 9-to-5 history. But it's that safety net that we provided and we want to provide for everyone else.
The best things in life are for free. Like, the people don't understand that. Do you know what I mean? Like, just like you say, Alex, taking your dog for a walk, go for a walk, and the beaches where you live are dead because everybody's in a job.
It's 10 o'clock
It's 10 o'clock
on a Monday morning.
Me
Yeah.
and Tami doing a shop, a food shop on a Tuesday, dead, just old people, because everybody else is at work. We went out last Sunday, packed. And I'm like, it's the little things where
100%.
It doesn't cost money, doesn't cost you more money to shop on a Tuesday. It's the same price. It's just there's nobody about.
Yeah.
It's the little things. And like, if you just look at how much we spend on a daily basis, I don't spend anything. The only things I spend money on are the things that I need: fuel, the bills, whatever it may be. Maybe my phone bill comes out. I barely spend any money every single day because it doesn't satisfy me spending money. I could go shopping every day. I could buy things on Amazon every day. It doesn't satisfy me. The amount of times when me and Tami will go to Norwich and we don't buy a single thing. We go back to the car with maybe like a bubble tea, because it doesn't do it for us.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it for us. Me leaving with a bag of clothes or leaving with no clothes makes no difference to me. And it's the free things in life. It's the freedom that you truly value when you get to that level. When you're not at that level, you always want the materialistic things. You want the things that you've never had, the things that that are in your wish list or your basket. That you're in that average mindset where you reward yourself with something materialistic for working so hard in your job, because you don't have anything else rewarding you, really. You don't have the freedom. You have a weekend, but that soon goes and you're back to a Monday morning. I think when you have the freedom, you start to find the things you love. You start to appreciate the time. You start to create more hobbies. You're creating a business you love. So a lot of the time you're putting into a business, so you're more focused on making money than actually spending money, which is a big one. More people focus on spending money than actually making money, and you start to your mindset and your whole attitude in your day-to-day life starts to change. The only thing I looked forward to when I was a chef was I would get paid on payday, all my bills would go out, I'd be left with £100 to £200. I think, what can I buy? Because you're looking for that cheaper dopamine, because you're so not, I wouldn't say depressed, but you're not, there's nothing else to look forward to. You haven't got like freedom to look forward to. I can't just walk out on a Monday morning and look forward to a Monday. You're trying to fill in these holes, and you never get satisfied, because a month later you get paid again, you're in the same position. You're looking at spending your spare 200 quid that you have. But when you've got the money there, and you start to realise that, wow, and you've got the freedom to back that up, which an online business gives you, that's when you start to think, wow, do you know what, it's not about the money.
100%. And let's also assist in terms of, right, what we're doing with Change is trying to give everything in terms of the tools to help people get away from that. All right, and you touch base on it. People don't realise how much time they've got. Now, let's just say the average 8 till 6 job, that's probably longer than most people work, but 8 till 6. Well, you've then got till, let's just say dinner, kids if you've got kids, 9 till 11 of hard work. Okay, working harder, working smart, not necessarily harder. You don't just have to sit in front of a laptop and be there the whole day to get results. You can do it in 2 hours, as long as you literally work within that time. You can do a lot of time in them short, like, couple of hours, and then spread that throughout the week, compound that throughout the months. You will be able to get there, because we've all done it. We've all had to work hard. Like before, obviously I was in the military, working 24-hour shifts at some point. Okay, we know how much time and effort it does take to get there. And we're not just saying that, your materialistic things don't make you happy. We're saying that the stuff that helps you, or the stuff you enjoy more, are not materialistic things, because we've done it.
I don't think you realise it though until you have that money, because one of the first things when I had like that little bit extra cash on the side was, I'm going to treat myself, and then I keep treating myself, but then I'd be like, I could have put that into the business, and then so then I'd start doing that instead.
That's because you're still growing.
Yeah, exactly. And then so you keep doing that, and then when you have got like that little bit of freedom, and I'm very much like, I love memories, like Ryan said, the materialistic things you can't take with you, and like the clothes you buy, like you end up giving them to charity, like, and you think, I was so excited when I got that.
It's that money spent on vacations, like, with
and
the
memories,
family,
and like we last year took my whole family away on a cruise, and like, my family aren't big travellers, so we kind of forced them all into it, but they still talk about it now, like how much like they loved it, how nice it was being all together.
And straight after we took my mum and dad.
And it's like memories that we'll always have that. Everyone will always have that, but like clothes and shit.
What was the mindset change that you kind of, because I think we've all been through it, but what was that mindset change for yourself? Do you know like a point where you went from, okay, I did the £200 of dopamine hit where a Prada bag, or I don't know a Prada, but so what do you know that changing? Do you know where that changing memory came from, where you thought that's got to be put in the business, stuff like that? Because I think there is going to be a switch.
I think for me it was when, because I was obviously doing bits on my own before, like we were together, talked about Change, I come on and we were then sort of doing everything together. And I think it was then, because I think it was like, like Ryan was putting in money, any money he had spare, Reese was, and I'm thinking, well, I can't go and buy like clothes and then just be like, I've given nothing.
I've got pretty nails.
So, yeah.
But like,
So I think like you think when you're all in it together, and it's like,
our
but what
e-commerce
does that
businesses,
matter?
our e-commerce businesses were the priority, you know.
Yeah.
That was the priority, and I just think you get to a point where you're like, you know, like you don't get the same satisfaction anymore. That naturally just comes. Like, let's say, like, you know, you get your first big payday in e-commerce, and you buy these trainers you've always wanted, or this outfit you go on that holiday you've always wanted to go on. You get it, your dopamine's high. You're like, oh my god, I've achieved it. You're on a massive high. Weeks later, months later, you're still on that high. You then book your next holiday, and you're on a high again, but it's not as much as the first one 'cause you've already done your big one.
Wears off,
and then
doesn't
it wears off, and then you buy some more trainers. You feel, oh, I've got 2 pairs now, and it becomes a numbers game. It's like, okay, now I've got 5 pairs of trainers. Now I've got 10. Now I've done 10 holidays, and the dopamine. It's like a drug, right? You know, like you take a drug for the first time, and you know you get your best hit,
You're
and then after
chasing it.
that you're chasing it,
yeah.
and that's the same
And
as
it's never
what
the
money
same.
does, you know. And look, man, I like I said before, you know, I know millionaires that are still looking at creating more side hustles that are time consuming. They don't know how to enjoy life. Some people will never learn. Some people go through their whole life just money, 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 and then before you know it, they're in the ground. They take nothing with
Yeah.
them. Was it really worth it?
Yeah.
So, you know, when somebody comes to me and they go, Ryan, yo, I've got X amount of money, I'm doing really well for myself, and they're basing success off their money that they make, you know that they've got it all wrong. They've got, their mindset is all wrong. They should be saying, Ryan, I've got a good life, man. I only work 10 hours a week. You know, they don't even mention numbers. I work 10 hours a week. That's how you know they've got their priorities right, and they understand the true values of life. The true values of life is not having to trade your time for money. And this is why we got into the online world ourselves. Like, we got into e-commerce because we realized that a lot of e-commerce, you know, Facebook ads, which is what you do every day, you know, Anthony, like with Facebook ads, they run themselves. Like, yeah, there's an element of work you need to do on the back end, but as long as you give Facebook that £10 a day, it's going to show to X amount of people. Anthony isn't putting advertisements on people's feed. The Facebook, the meta technology is doing that itself. Okay, there's some stuff on the back end. That's where the skill comes in. That's where Anthony comes in for our members. But it leverages your time in a nutshell. B2B automation, the service you offer, Alex, leverages members' time. They're not sitting at their laptop and they're getting responses from businesses saying, oh, I'm very interested, or can I order 1,000 units? They're not even at their laptop.
Yeah,
they're taking their dog for a walk on the beach just like you are.
Yeah.
And the technology and the software.
Working smart, not harder.
Yeah.
And that is
100%.
the different, and that is the world that we live in.
Yeah, I think there's more AI opportunities that are coming out there. There's always going to be needed a human response to it. AI can only take you so far, and I think it's that robotic environment that people can get carried away in. You get lost in it, and you'll lose concentration on your branding. But I think, just to bring it back a little bit more, the point to get to that where we're on about, where motivation is different for each and every person. But I think, like we said there, like, money is always good to have a short-term goal. One of the best tips is that you want to move beyond the money. Like, start visualizing walking on the beach and stuff like that. That visualization of what is going to motivate you outside of the money. That we can mention it until we're blue in the face. The dopamine hit of trainers, the dopamine hit of new nails and stuff like that. But yeah, fantastic.
That'll come.
But that'll only last a certain period of time. Like Ryan said there, after month 5, you've got 5. I've only got 2 feet. How many pairs of trainers on stuff like that? It's like what? So money is stuff like that, and it's very much a short-term goal. You do need it to create that sense of where you go beyond. But visually start to plan what you want to go beyond, and start to plan. Like I said, for myself, it was more time with Evie Rose, stuff like that. Like, sometimes the biggest thing and the hardest thing isn't the tools that we provide you, isn't the knowledge, or isn't the success. The biggest thing is motivation. And I think some people get quite lost quite early on. They may go a week and we'll get a message saying, oh, I've not made a sale.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's start to visualize not that financial freedom, but start to visualize what you can do with that financial freedom, like the opportunities it provides outside
A lot of
the
that
money.
naturally comes though. A lot of
Yeah,
that
it
does
does
naturally come.
naturally
You know,
come.
we've had members who are like, I want to make this amount, and now they're talking about being able to wake up when they want. So I think it
Yeah.
does. I think it does naturally come, but it is completely normal for people watching this thinking, you know, I want to make more money. If I can,
100%,
make,
yeah.
you're gonna get people saying, I want to make. If I can make just 5K a month, I'll be fine. Like, that's absolutely fine. That's okay, because you're not saying I want to make 5K a month to buy materialistic stuff. I think the people that buy materialistic things, is because they're either insecure in themselves, they're not happy with themselves, they don't enjoy who they are. I think there's deeper issues on why they chase materialistic things. I see materialistic things as milestones. Like I could have more than 2 nice cars that I have, or 3 cars, or whatever. I could have more, but I don't want more because it's not going to do anything for me. They're just milestones, so I can look back and reflect how far I've come. The true things I value are the things like spending time with Brooke, spending time with Tami, my family. There's days where I'll sit in the house and I won't look out the window once at my car. My car's just sat in the drive because it doesn't mean what it means to some other people. Does that make sense? So
should we give like each give one little point of what someone can take away from this? So I can start. So for me, for those who are sort of watching this and thinking, oh, yeah, I know, but I need the money. Find your purpose. And what I mean by that is, right, why do you want to do what you're doing? Because that's going to keep you up at night, the late nights, because it does take a lot of outside hours to do hard graft. So if you've got a purpose of why, that's going to pull you through them late nights and long weekends of working on your own sometimes, sending hundreds and hundreds of emails, getting their responses, maybe spending money on ads and then not getting the results just initially. Find your purpose first, and then that'll bring you through the dark days. Definitely.
Get yourself a mentor. I'll say this is how I so the amount of people that, like you say there, Alex, not getting responses, not making money, they don't value investing. They want to make money, but they don't want to invest to make money. Does that make sense? The amount of messages I get on social media, I'm not a member, but I'm doing B2B, I'm not getting any responses, and I'm like, you need Alex. But they don't value investing. If you don't value investing into yourself or into a business, you'll never make money ever. So you're wasting your time, you're wasting money.
Purpose, mentor.
I think for myself...
was that my answer? Sorry.
That's your answer.
Jumped in with that answer.
I think for me, I understand that there's always a process. And understand that there's always a history behind the process. We're not just... We won't ever put anything live because we've seen it on someone else's page or stuff like that. We've everything that we preach is always practiced. We practice it every day. Marketing and stuff like that I'll always do. Ryan's always going to look into that avenue of marketing. He's always developed it. Tami will always mention with the Amazon side of it, always like look into affiliate. Alex has always done B2B. What we practice is what we preach, and there's 100%. Always a process. We're not just saying do this for random reasons. Alex 100%. Isn't saying develop templates because he fancies it. I'm not saying that there's a process. I'm not saying that CPM, CPC, CTR. I'm not just making anomalies up and stuff like that. Like I know what it is, and like I said, we've done the steps. We can show you the success, and we continue to show you success via Ryan's stories, or we'll do webinars and masterminds with our members and stuff like that. Like we're not just a one-trick pony. It isn't just a fluke. If we only did it one time. I mean, every other day, there's Alex posting someone's done B2B. Obviously, I can show you results every single day from a different member. Like, it's not just a one-trick pony. It's not just a fluke. There is a process, and like I said, it's trust that process.
Definitely, I would. It's kind of what.
No, go on.
It's kind of the same as Alex's about the purpose, but personally, for me. My purpose when I started was money because I wanted to travel. I didn't have Brooke at the time. I worked in a job I absolutely hated. I wanted more holidays. But that developed into, like, I got the money. I was doing my side little thing on Amazon. I got the money and I realised I'd used up 3 weeks of my 4 weeks holiday in, like, the first quarter of the year. So then I was like, okay, well, how am I going to have all these holidays? So I needed the time. So your purpose changes along the way. So if it is money that drives you to start with, that is absolutely fine, but it will change and then keep going back to that purpose.
So yours is almost like your motivation.
Yeah.
So you've got purpose / motivation, then you've got mentor, and then you've got the process.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a few good takeaways.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's been a good podcast. I think just understand financial freedom is the goal, where you don't have to worry about money and you can do what you want when you want.
100%.
E-commerce offers that. Let's go, guys. Appreciate the
Thanks,
podcast.
guys.
Cheers.